Good morning and welcome to our meditation on grace. Today is the 10th of March, and I would like to read in James chapter 1, verse 17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow caused by change. James wrote to Christians who were being persecuted. We believe that they were Christians from Jewish background. What happens when we are going through a time of trials and tribulations? We tend to think that God has abandoned us. But he's saying, verse 16, do not be deceived, my dear brothers. Why shouldn't they be deceived? They shouldn't be deceived in believing that God had forsaken them because they were going through a time of tribulation. The same God that has given them every good gift when things were all right is the same God that is with them when things are going bad. Because there is no variation of or shadow in God. God never changes. He is always the same. The one he was when he was talking to Abraham, to Moses, to David, he is still that same God. He will never change. There is no variation in him. We change. Look at you in the mirror and you see that you are very different. Your body has changed from when you were 20 or 30, when you were younger. But God doesn't get old. God doesn't change. So if God was good for you in the past, he's good for you today, and he's going to be good for you tomorrow. He's the one who was, who is, and is to come. And of course, Revelation says that about Christ, when Isaiah says the same thing about the Father, showing that Christ is divine. Knowing Christ is important because you realize that he never changes. We are talking about being filled with the fullness of Christ. When you are filled with the fullness of Christ, you understand how he behaves, how he is, and how he will never change. We change, but God does not change. According to his sovereign plan, he says in verse 18, he brought us into being through the word of truth, so that we would be a kind of first fruit of all he created. And understand this, my dear brothers, everyone must be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For the anger of man does not bring about the righteousness that God requires. So just listen to the Holy Spirit. Just stand in the rock that's on the rock that is Christ. And Christ will do his job in your life, whatever is happening. So we tend to think that by becoming angry because of what is going on in the world, what is happening to our lives, is going to bring about the righteousness that God requires, but it doesn't. We have to trust in him who never changes. God never changes. That's extremely important to understand. That whatever happens in this world, God is sovereign. Whatever happens to us in this life, God is sovereign. God will never change. He's got a perfect plan. And if we stick to his plan, if we follow his plan, if we are filled with his righteousness, we are going to stand firm, and we are not going to uh, be confused. I know in whom I have believed. That's what we should say every day. I know it's not easy, is it? Especially when the storm comes, we tend to think that we are on our own, and we might try to solve our problems by our own strength, depending on our strength, or even follow other people and doing what people are telling us to do. But understand one thing, my brother, he says, we should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. We have to wait on the Holy Spirit and let God work in us. It's important to do that, so we are not going to feel confused when tribulation comes. God has a sovereign plan, he says in verse 18. And he has brought us into being through the word of truth. So we should remain in his truth. He's not lost. God hasn't, he's not confused. He knows what he's doing. He's sovereign. So let us trust that the one that started a good work in us, as Paul says to the Philippian church, he's going to accomplish that plan. God bless you.